Hello, everybody. Welcome to the second live stream of the day. So in the morning, we talked just a little bit about what's going on in the crypto market, what's kind of going on behind the scenes, give you like a quick update, very quick, very simple live stream that we did, roughly about 12 or 13 minutes or something like that. And I asked the question, do you want this type of format moving forward? Just do something super quick in the morning and then a little bit elongated at night. And people say, yeah, that sounds like a pretty good way to go. Then also I asked the question, look, I know people have been complaining about the amount of ads that have been coming on, and I can't control that. That is YouTube. So if you want, I'll take the ads off. But if we do that, then I have to circumvent that with something else and getting some kind of sponsorship for the channel. And unanimously, or almost unanimously, people are like, I don't really care about the ads. I just skip them anyhow, and that's about it. And then a lot of you do what I do, which is you have what's YouTube Prime or whatever it's called, where essentially you pay, I think it's like 12, 13 bucks a month, you don't get ads. And so we're going to keep it like that. And the people have spoken, and I listen to you people. So let's get into it and talk about what's going on tonight. First of all, I'd like to talk about and tip my hat to the gold bugs and the silver bugs and the precious metal people that are out there. You guys did a great job. And what you did, you waited a long time, and this is your time to shine. And I just say, I just give it up to investors who can hold on for that long and then really ride up the trend. And I think this trend is going to go even higher. So right now, as far as by market cap, gold is crushing it. And I think there's been reports out that gold is going to, I think Jamie Dimon even says it's going to be, $6,000 to $10,000. But who knows? That is just massive speculation. I've got people on the other end who will tell you that Bitcoin's going to $250,000 by the end of this year. So it's anybody's guess. But again, gold and silver is ranking high. Silver is, gosh, what are we at here for number 6? $2.89 trillion, which beats out Amazon. And of course, our favorite, Bitcoin at $2.2 trillion. Who saw this coming and had it on their bingo card? I sure didn't. But I got to tell you, I know some people are a little bit peeved at the fact that precious metals are so high, but you shouldn't. We've been beating the pants off of precious metals for as long as we've been around, just about. And this year they did a good job and surpassed us. So we'll keep going round and round. I never understood why the gold bugs and the silver people hated us. We all want the same thing. We're all not a big fan of printing money and quantitative easing and pretty much de-dollarization and or debasing the currency. So we're all in the same boat. And again, hats off to you guys. Congratulations. But that doesn't mean that our side isn't buying. Me personally, I bought today a little bit of Bitcoin and some other type of things, because now that we're seeing a little bit of a dip, I think it's a little bit prudent to get back in. And Michael Saylor is doing the same thing. He's acquired 168 Bitcoin for $18 million at $112,000 per Bitcoin. I gotta tell you, I remember Saylor buying much more. I think he's being a little bit more cautious, or maybe this is just what he can do with MicroStrategy and buying up Bitcoin. But he is still buying, so there is that going for us. And also, if we take a look at Bitcoin treasuries, MicroStrategy is still number 1, and it's got 640,000 Bitcoin, which is 3% of the total circulating supply, which I will still say that is, I'm pretty sure it's even more. I'm under the belief that between 4 and 6 million Bitcoin are actually lost because of the wallets that have been destroyed, lost, or unknown. So, but take that with a grain of salt. MicroStrategy is still doing it. Also, Tom Lee and BitMine, they just bought a boatload of Ethereum after $820 million week of buying. So congratulations to BitMine and Tom Lee, who is the eternal bull, and they are buying like crazy. If you take a look at the Strategic ETH Reserve website, check out these stats as far as how much Ethereum has been bought up as time has gone on. And essentially they're putting it on their balance sheet and they're holding. Looks like 12,569,565 ETH. So not too bad as Tom Lee gets into it. So that is the good news. But I want to bring us back to reality like I usually like to do. And there's a lot of good things going on there, but I can feel there's this undercurrent of regret I think, in some of the, well, the people that I interact with, and I can feel it on X, and I can kind of see it in the comment section. Do you ever have like a little bit of regret of what you bought or what you did? Well, this was actually made pretty clear from Sandeep, the CEO of Polygon Foundation. He put out this post, and it really made me think about where his head's at. I think everybody's head's at. So just take a listen to this. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I should have linked this in the description, but if you just search for Sandeep Nawal, you can find him on X, or just Polygon CEO. And he tweeted out this, or he posted this. I'm not going to lie, I've started questioning my loyalty toward Ethereum. The Ethereum community as a whole has been a real S show for quite some time. Why does it feel like every other week someone with major contributions to Ethereum has to publicly question what they're even doing here? Just go your own way. And this is from a person who's not just like sitting back, quietly accumulating Ethereum. This is a guy who is essentially working on Ethereum, has a robust chain that is Polygon, and it's been changing from Matic to Polygon, and is, you know, really involved in the inner workings of the Ethereum Foundation, and of course sidechain or layer 2, whatever they say it is this time. And I thought about this, and I think, you know, if the CEO of one of the largest, I mean, they're in the top 30 still, one of the largest Ethereum projects that are out there, if he's thinking that, what are people who are investing into Ethereum and these different types of projects? I can tell you, I'm pretty sure people are second guessing. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. He says, at worst, people have started questioning my fiduciary and moral duty towards Polygon. When Polymarket wins big, Polymarket, which is one of those future type of markets, which uses the wisdom of the crowd. We're going to take a look at it a little bit. And it's Polymarket, Polygon market, Polymarket. When Polymarket wins big, it's Ethereum. But Polygon itself is not Ethereum. It's pretty mind-boggling. The Ethereum community needs to take a hard look at itself and ask why everyday contributors to Ethereum, even major ones like Peter Szilagyi, are forced to question or even regret their alliance to Ethereum. My only remaining defense to myself is that Ethereum is a democracy, and in any democracy, people on all sides end up disgruntled. But it's still the only system that truly works in the long run. So let me know what you think about that in the comment section. We'll discuss this in the Q&A, but I have to tell you, that is very eye-opening when a CEO of a very large chain on Ethereum is really expressing doubts and regrets. I feel it, and maybe you do too. Anyhow, let me know what you think about that. And then lastly, and we'll wrap this up. It's a pretty easy night today. Amazon Web Service. It looks like people or projects aren't as decentralized as we thought they were, although there's a catch. How today's Amazon Web Service glitch took down Coinbase, ETH layer 2s, and half the internet. I know what you're thinking. You're like, man, Rob's pretty negative on Ethereum and layer 2s. This is just the stories that came out. I just covered the news. That's it. Crypto's dependence on Amazon Web Service highlights the irony of centralization with decentralized ecosystems. Now, to be fair, it says right here, if we're talking about wallets and different websites, yes, they use Amazon Web Service, but not every single project uses Amazon Web Service to do all the hosting and all the data centralization for what they need to actually operate. Like in this situation, Consensus-backed Infura, which is the back-end service that connects crypto wallets like MetaMask to blockchains, said the disruption affected its users, just the connection from the wallet to Polygon, Optimism, Arbitrum, Linea, Base, and Scroll. Base is centralized anyhow. It's like 2 servers underneath Brian Armstrong's bed. That's not centralized. So like when we talk about this, like, okay, that's not so bad. But wait, it does get worse. So for context, data from Ether nodes show that Amazon Web Service hosts roughly 2,368 Ethereum execution layer nodes, accounting for about 37% of the network total. So roughly, yeah, about a third there, a little bit over that, of, again, all the nodes that are out there. So if you have a third of those nodes disappear, does that mean that the Ethereum chain goes down? No. It just means that 2/3 is decentralized. An Amazon Web Service outage won't bring Ethereum to a halt, as other nodes hosted on competing clouds or self-run hardware will continue to process transactions. So I know people are raring to go. The ones that hate Ethereum are like, see, I told you, centralized. Calm down. Some are using it and some are not, roughly about 2/3. And that would lead us into the way of, if you're really not a fan of centralization, which I think most of us are not, you should get into stuff like Filecoin and Arweave. They offer promise because they are censorship resistant, cost-efficient options that align with crypto ethos. Basically, they are decentralized file sharing networks, Filecoin and Arweave. So that's up to you to put your money where your mouth is. But I just thought it was interesting that this is happening. And then just so you know, Amazon Web Service, when that goes down, everything goes down. This is Down Detector, and these are all the websites that went down. Amazon, and I ordered something on Amazon, so I don't know if that's like everywhere, but sure. FanDuel, Snapchat, Venmo was down. I also heard some banks were down. You couldn't use your debit card. Let me know if that was you in the comments section. Reddit was down. Etsy, Instacart, Zoom meetings, Amazon Alexa, Starbucks was down. That's weird. Netflix, YouTube. Well, YouTube's up because we're streaming on it, and so on and so forth. Fortnite, Google, Coinbase was down. Chase was down. Good riddance, Chase. But yeah, that's what I have. And the question that I had was, is there a website like Down Detector, but for dApps, decentralized apps? And yes, there is. It's called web3down.com. You can't make it any easier than that. And I took a look at it, and out of all the projects, there's this one called Blur. I don't know what the heck that is. Apparently an NFT platform. It's the only one that's down right now. Aave's having some issues, but 15%. But Anchor, Aptos, Arbiscan, Arbitrum, no issues. Arweave, we just talked about. Avalanche, 15% issues. So they must be doing this little AWS stuff. Bitcoin, no issues. Obviously not. BNB Chain, Blast, Chainlink, and so on and so forth. So if I take a look at dApps and people were complaining about this, I'm like, I don't see the problem. It looks like it's okay. And there may be some slight, but it's not like the end-all, be-all. So let me just think about that in the comments. And then also, just so you know, I know this hasn't been like the Uptober that you wanted, but maybe it's the Uptober you deserve. Just kidding. But just know that there's ETFs coming. And this is from Polymarket. Again, we were just talking about that. And it looks like, and things have shifted. I believe it was like over 30%. We thought that the government would open up like mid-November. And now it's looking like people are betting on the fact that government shutdown will end. The end of this month is the 20th today, so roughly 10, 11 days, 2 weeks or so. 23% say that. Others, around 14, 16% say in next week. So you're looking at 30, 23. So somewhere in 1 or 2 weeks, the majority of people who are on Polymarket, which I got to tell you, has been quite accurate on a lot of different things, are saying that it's going to open up. Why is that such a big deal? It's because of this. I don't care if the government opens up or not. So far, it's been blissful and nice to not have everybody actually doing things in the government and screwing things up. It's been great, quite honestly. I haven't had an issue whatsoever. People are still getting paid, apparently. Military is getting paid. I like that. And the only problem is ETFs are not getting approved. And once it opens up, I did not know all these were actually pending. But look at this. There is an XRP spot ETF pending by Ripple, Grayscale. Let's see how that works out. Cardano ETF, which is through Van Eck. That's weird. And Hashdex. There's a Solana spot ETF by Bitwise, 21 shares in Fidelity. There's a Polkadot ETF. I'm not a big fan of Polkadot, but great. 21 shares. Hedera ETF by Canary Capital. Sty ETF, 21 shares of Canary. And look at this, a Tron staked ETF. Now this is interesting because if you have this is what they wanted Ethereum to be, an Ethereum staked ETF. Because what would be great for the institutions to go, look, you want to get your customers and clients into Ethereum, great. They're also going to earn yield because we're able to stake it. Well, that didn't work out, Chancellor. And this is what we have, a watered down version of Ethereum. If you get Tron staked ETF, I know people are like, who cares about Tron? You should. Tron is like 51% of the total volume of Tether. So I think that's going to be a good one, Canary Capital. I might even buy that. Dogecoin spot ETF, Bitwise coin shares, Litecoin spot ETF, coin shares, and this is crazy, a leveraged crypto ETFs of Bitcoin, Solana, ETH, and XRP. A leverage ETF. Crazy. So anyhow, we'll see if that comes to fruition. That would be awesome. I want to see more ETFs because that gives us more access for people to make it easy instead of them trying to figure out what crypto is, trying to figure out cold storage wallets and getting ripped off like people have been doing the last ever. And that's it for tonight. So look, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. What we talk about is time sensitive. Now, if you want to stick around, we'll do a little Q&A and I'll answer all your questions to the best of my abilities. Oh, one more thing. We did a TANGEM giveaway. I want to say it was last week or so. Out of the 3 people that we picked, only 1 person answered me. And the other 2 that I said, hey, you know, we got to do this giveaway, they didn't answer. So we got to do a giveaway again for 1 a wallet and 1 of the rings. So we'll do that maybe tomorrow or so. So I'll let everybody know how it works. I think what I'm going to do, though, is I'm not going to post it on X. I'm just going to surprise everybody and go, hey, we're going to do a giveaway, and I'll have somebody answer a question, and I'll just randomly pick somebody to give the TANGEM. The only stipulation is for me to get the TANGEM to you, I need somehow to get a hold of you, and we can't put this in the chats. I think the best thing to do would probably be, if you're going to win, you're going to have a X handle so I can reach out to you that way. So I'm not going to ask for your address here. That's dumb. All right, what are we? AWD. Who was the first one here? In the last news, I saw that the combined amount of fiat money globally in USD is 100 trillion. Wow. Out of that, 92% is debt, which is insane. It's only going to go one way. Yet people defend fiat money. I don't know if people defend fiat money no. I think Van Life is actually correct. Because when you talk to your normie friends and you tell them about Bitcoin, which I got to do a video on how to talk to your normie friends. Because it depends on who you're talking to. Well, I'll get to that in a second. But when you talk to your normie friends, they're like, you talk about Bitcoin and how it essentially is, gold 2.0. It has the function of money. It is, it's a great decentralized, don't even say decentralized product because it just goes over their head anyhow. And if you talk about how it's finite, how much electricity that it actually takes to actually produce, how it's a peer-to-peer transaction, and you can send it to anyone, anywhere in the world in less than 10 minutes for pennies. And it makes everything just extremely fast. Also, it's a great store of value. I know people would say, well, didn't it go down like 10 or 15%? Yeah, we'll go to other countries across the world and see how their fiat currency is doing. Heck, just go to Argentina, see how that's working out for them. And if it wasn't for us bailing them out by buying that Argentinian peso, whatever it is, yeah, let's see how great they're doing. So I see what you're saying about dollars, because when I would talk about Bitcoin, they'd be like, what's it backed by? Is it backed by the full faith of the US government? I'm like, oh man, you are lost. But yeah, it's just start here. I was doing, it was a real estate conference, and I was talking about Bitcoin. I was talking about what you just talked about. Know your audience. I was talking about those things, about stores of value and how great it is and how it's decentralized and it runs on a distributed ledger. It's dumb. What I should have said is just this. The number goes up, and that's it. The number goes up, and if you hold it for 4 years or longer, you're always going to be in profit. Can you say that about your real estate property? Probably not. So when we talk about those, hold on one second. Hold on one second. Great. The mic was a little bit jittery. So when we say like number go up, just stick them with that, and then they can figure it out themselves. And they can keep going down that rabbit hole. Because most of the people, that's what they want to hear. And then just have them say, okay, now it's time for you to do your research. Like what Stanley Druckenmiller would say, right? Put a little money into it, which forces you to actually do the research. I can tell you when I was watching the people, I could just see their interest just turn off like lights. And I was like, oof, that's not a good idea. So start with that. Good question. Went down a rabbit hole, sorry. Yeah. said, Robbie, your channel's like the lotto. I never know when I'm going to catch you live. Yeah, I think sometimes it's good to shake things up and do a little bit differently, because I like to talk to everybody. That's great. But I think it's good to talk to different people. So I'm trying to move things around. Yeah. Bill says, I stopped talking to my friends about Bitcoin. They can research anything. Yeah. I just say the number goes up. The number goes up, and that's what's great. Because let me ask everybody, and hold on. I'm just going to do this. This is what Jimmy always tells me to do. Hold on real quick. I'm going to make a poll. Okay. What brought you into Bitcoin initially? Number go up technology. Something else. Answer that poll for me, would you? I'm curious to see what everybody has to say about that one. All right. There, finally. Hey, I got to it at the very end. Sorry about that. Let's see. Rob, we appreciate your calm and capable demeanor. It helps when you're here since 2017, and we've all gone through it. I think the majority of people that watch me, they've already been through it. So it's like there's just one more lump. The only thing that concerns me right now is are we going to see a blow off top in November, December like we usually get, or are we going to have to extend that into Q1 of 2026? That's the only thing I really am kind of up in the air about. I'm not 100% for sure. Now, we talk about how things are not different, but there's and I just posted this today, matter of fact, about how the cycle is elongating a little bit if we're measuring the bottom to the top of, like, the bottom of the last cycle to the days right now for the blow off top. And also, when we take a look at the halving, the ROI, we're actually extended as well. So I take a look at these two things. I'm like, okay, those two are extended. The only thing that is not extended is we usually see blow off tops in November, mid-November to late November or December. Now we only have 3 data points though: 2013, 2017, and 2021. 3 data points are not a ton, statistically speaking. So we'll see if it holds up. Let's see. But yeah, 38 Wheels says this cycle is running through to late February. Yep. Mohammed's got a good question. Rob, next cycle, are you buying alts in the bear? Yes, but I will be sticking to like top 20 type of stuff. I'm going to exercise the demons that are S coins, that are like market cap 100 and above. I just don't have time for that. And also what I like to do is start delving into options, trading options. I think it's like I got a friend here that does it, and it seems relatively less risky. I mean, if we're not doing massive leverage. And I was looking at it, I was like, okay, that seems pretty simple to do that. I can do that on Robinhood, and that's all I need to do. I was just thinking about it. You know how the progression of a professional athlete goes from, you have little league, then you have intermediary, then you have high school football, basketball, track, or whatever it is. Then you go into college, and then you hit the big time, the pros. And that's kind of like the same thing with traders, right? Traders, they kind of start small, no leverage, they don't really do too much, and they kind of dip their toes, and it's very safe, maybe some treasuries, some bonds, something a little bit like that. Then they get into stocks, large cap stocks that aren't too volatile, and they get pretty good. Then they get into more volatile stuff. Imagine going in the exact opposite way. You go from S-coin, meme coins, nonsense, where they can go up like 100x in a month. And then you take that and go, hey, let's just start trading options. And you'd be like, this is the easiest thing in the world. So we'll see how that goes later. D'Angelini says, we're about to get wrecked. That could be true too. Who knows? Polaris states, and probably right, this cycle is going to make people fade buying alts in the bear market, I feel. And that's good. Because think of it this way. All those meme coins that are out there with their liquidity, they're just sucking up liquidity doing nothing. And there's really not too much volume going in there every single day. They're just kind of stuck there because people don't want to move anything. They're like, oh, it's going to go up at some point. And I think as time goes on, and we start to get better projects that are used more mainstream, and they get into the public consciousness, and they actually have real utility, those are going to be the winners. And people are like, I'm going to take my money out of fart coin and put it into XYZ, this, number 3 market cap altcoin, because it actually has real world utility and people are picking up, and it's being used by a sovereign nation, stuff like that. And I think the other liquidity that's out there is just going to just flow into real functioning assets. Maybe. Okay. No. Thanks, Versus options will be good for the next cycle. Already set notifications ready for when the stream drops. Thank you. Mohammed says, no alts remain the bear, only stocks and Bitcoin. And then Matthew said, Elon said something bad about Bitcoin and it dropped from the mid 60K to mid 40K. I thought, can't go any lower than that 30% drop. I bought it and it went to 18K and eventually back up. Man, first of all, who wouldn't like to buy Bitcoin at 30K today? Wouldn't that be great? Could happen. Like I said before, I mean, in April 2021, we went from 64,000. We had a wick during May, I think it was, where it went down to roughly 31K. And then about a month and a half later, it wasn't a wick, it was a close, and it hit 29,000. So 50% drops. If you were here in 2021, you know what I'm talking about. Bring it on. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. Pete says, Rob, I like the shorter, more often live stream. Yeah, me too. I think that's what we're going to have to go to because so many things going on, so many things. But I'm not going to be able to do it twice a day every day. Crypto Ricardo. I love options, much less risky indeed. You're putting the asset that are sitting in your wallet to work. Free money. Exactly, free money. I like this part. So, if you got a couple thousand laying around or a couple 100,000 or some ballers like you, a couple million just laying around, but not a bad idea. And mint tea is, I suspect, a slow crawl till very little, yet hoping for a big old banana. A la Raul Pal. So I can see that too. I can see us just grinding up to like 130K and that's it. And that's all. But here's the question though. If we do hit 130, let's say we hit 130K in December, how mad would everybody be? Especially when you went heavy alts. How mad? Because if you're at 130K for Bitcoin, that doesn't mean that your alt's going to go up to even all-time highs of 2021. Shoot. However, remember what we talked about. The sentiment in the crypto market changes at the drop of a hat. So you get some kind of massively bullish news. Trump decides to post something good on tariffs. China deal comes through. Maybe another ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. They're never going to stop. You get something like that, then all of a sudden the sentiment changes. Oh, we just got 50 basis points cuts? Wow, that sounds good. Oh, they're might be actually printing some money, which I don't think they're going to start doing. Oh, they're going to continue on with the reduction of the quantitative tightening? Sounds good. It can always happen. If you don't like the sentiment, just wait. It changes. WC. I bought my first Bitcoin in 2016. A gambling website, Bovada, had an option for instant cash out if using Bitcoin. So I'm researching that in. Oh, gee. Me too. I was like, I remember going, wow. I remember talking about this when it was like $1, and now it's $8,000. Number go up. I like number go up. I should buy that number go up. And I bought the number go up technology called Bitcoin. And then I did my research like years later. Well, a year later. Glad I was off today. Work at a large DC that uses Amazon Web Service. Ted Num. I'm thinking about hedging with alts at this point. In my opinion, those candidates are for Athena, Arbitrum, Optimism, SWE, AI. All will be diluted by more than 50% in the long run and surely tank if we fall. Yeah, it's an option. I find it hard to kind of move things around right now. I've made my thesis on what I think is going to be good and what's going to do well, and I just want to stick it with there. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm right. If and of course, if something comes out where they're like, "Hey, guess what? There was a major hack on the altcoin that you're heavily into, Rob," I will probably dump it. But outside of that, I'm going to stick around. But again, like I said, like I've said many times, my portfolio this run time is roughly 75%, and that keeps going up because the valuation of Bitcoin keeps going up and the alts keep going down. So at some point it's going to be 80, 85. But yeah, so that's it. I would have had more, but I had to sell some alts and some Bitcoin for a real estate deal. But it was a great deal, so I couldn't pass it up. Do I regret it? No. It was when Bitcoin was like 75, 80K or something like that. I had to do it. I got a friend who listens to some other friend and bought their first crypto, which is ETH. I wonder if this is any indication. Okay, I'll take that ancillary report of normie people getting into crypto. I'll take it. Yeah, getting annoyed with my alts. I don't blame you, Joey. JP Smile says, is there anything specific you are watching right now at the mainstream indicators to show bullish, bearish sentiment for crypto? You can get a good sense just by perusing Twitter or X, where people's heads are at. And we can look at some basic stuff. You can take a look at the MVRV and 12 multiple, all that stuff. But as far as like bullishness, nobody's really feeling that blow off top exuberance right now. I would say that it's not like we're in fear or extreme fear. It's fatigue. That's what I feel like everybody's at. Everybody's just tired. They're tired of hearing about how it's going to explode tomorrow, or there's going to be some huge breakout, or some BS thing that's being slopped around. And people are just like, damn it, you told me. All right, keep hearing these things about how it's going to release the bulls and all this bull. And it doesn't happen. And people are just, like I said, they're just fatigued. They're just tired. And like I just had a friend, matter of fact, just say that his buddy sold all his XRP. And he's like, I'm out. I was tired of waiting for this. And he just sold. And he had like a couple $1 million worth. That's it. So I think right now, that's where we're at. He says, this cycle feels awful. Yeah, I know. Definitely tired of not doing all this. Still buying back down. It explodes the downside. Good thing come to those who wait. This is true. Cycle's not over until ETH hits minimum 8K. Wow. I'll take 8K. Ooh. Donzi. Had a friend tell me to look into Bitcoin in 2015. I blew him off and said that is a voodoo stuff. Ended up getting 21. Hey, you should hear. You didn't get in when it was 100K. That's pretty great. And Pete is a great way to leave off. I'm tired, boss. Me too. I'm tired too. But don't worry. It's not like we've got to be here every single day. Look, if you want to take a break, just take a break. I'll see you in like a week or 2 weeks, something like that. Not much is going to happen in that time, we hope. But if you want to stick around, I'll be here tomorrow morning. So that's it for tonight. So everybody, thanks so much for stopping by and hanging out with me for about half an hour. I appreciate it. Like tonight's video, thumbs up, subscribe, all that great stuff. And I will see you on the next one. Don't worry, things are going to work out. I'll talk to you guys later.